So today we are going to talk about the Sigma 105 F2.8 EX DGOS HSM macro. Hi guys, it's Bill with Media Unlocked, and today we're talking about this fantastic Sigma lens. Now, I have been a fan of Sigma lenses for a long time. I have several of the Sigma art lenses. I love them to death. I think they are a great value, bang for the buck kind of lens. They're a little bit cheaper than your name brand lenses, but they deliver an excellent result. Well, I wanted to try this 105 F2.8 macro because I've been shooting a lot of macro lately. You remember macro month, and it's now kind of stretched into macro year so far. But I've been shooting a lot of macro, and I wanted to try this particular lens. So our friends at B&H were wonderful enough to provide it for me to play with for a month. So I started looking at it. Now the tech specs on this thing, it's absolutely fantastic. It's got 16 elements in 11 different groups. It's got 9 rounded blades in the aperture. It gives you a beautiful bokeh as a result. It's got 2 SLD elements, which minimizes the chromatic aberration and the fringing that you pick up with lenses. It says in its specs it's got a 1-inch minimum focus. But remember that your minimum focus is actually measured from the sensor in your camera. You've got a little mark on the side and on the back of your camera that marks the center spot for your sensor. We have an ant on our table because we were shooting macro earlier and I had ants in a flower I was trying to shoot. Well, the sensor of 1 inch is not an inch from here. It's actually closer to about a foot. So they say an inch, but that's kind of an inch from the front of the lens. So give that a little bit of a grain of salt when you're doing it. It comes in at 1.6 pounds, which is a really good figure for a lens of this quality. If you're shooting macro, and I shot a lot of macro with this, you're using it on a tripod more often than not. So 1.6, while a little bit on the heavy side for some hand holding, is really okay for a tripod. Now, we've got several different sensor switches here on the side that I want to take a look at with you. Okay, so in order to get the best results out of this lens, there are some settings here on these switches that you really need to pay attention to. Number one, this is your optical stabilizer. The optical stabilizer, as you can see, is off, 1 and 2. Off is when you're on a tripod. The optical stabilization system sends little pulses through the lens, through a fluid, and that makes the elements move. If you're on a tripod, it's sending more and more pulses, trying to figure out how to compensate for motion that it's not seeing. So if you're on a tripod, you always turn your optical stabilization off. Setting 1 is designed for regular handheld photography. The whole idea is to use 2 systems, one which controls for example, mirror shake or the little motions when you hit the shutter, one of which is what's having your focus maybe, which is a little bit moving if your subject is in the wind or something like that. So that's where you use setting 1. Setting 2 is when you want to do a panning shot. So if you're following a cyclist, for example, down the road, you want to get that nice motion blur in the background. This allows you to focus only on the one direction for the optical stabilizer. This is your autofocus. You have an autofocus setting or a manual setting. If you're shooting macro, I always recommend manual focusing because, well, your eye is a little bit better than the camera. The camera doesn't know if you're trying to focus on the stamen of a flower, for example, or a petal or whatever. You do. So I always recommend manual focus when you're shooting macro. Autofocus, of course, when you're using the regular lens. This is called a focus limiter. What it does is shut down your autofocus in certain directions. You've got a very short, under 1/3 of a meter. You've got a very long, full, or you've got one that's from about 1/2 meter to full. What that does is it tells your autofocus where the limits are. If you're very close to your subject, you pick the very short one. That way the lens doesn't go all the way to the end of its focusing run and then come back. It's faster, and it makes it work a lot better if you take your setting the right way. Okay, now this lens of course can be used as just a standard 105mm, can be used as a standard macro lens. But I wanted to spend just a moment talking about the art of macro photography. Sometimes you shoot macro to get bokeh. Sometimes you want the depth of field and you want to play with it for your artistic purposes. Maybe you want just the stamen of a particular flower in focus and everything else very soft and just kind of fuzzing out into the background. But sometimes you want an image to be perfectly sharp all the way through. That's when you use a technique called focus stacking. Now, I'm not going to give you a big, long discussion of focus stacking here today. If you want one, put a comment down below and we'll make a video for you on how to do focus stacking. But the general idea is that you shoot multiple images of the exact same thing with different focal points. And then you blend those images together in your post-production software to make an image that is focused perfectly from front to back all the way through. Now, focus stacking, I used to do it with 3 or 4 or 5 images, and I realized that just wasn't good enough. The focus stack example that you're about to see, and there it is, that image is taken with 21 separate images blended together in Photoshop. Now, take a look at the detail, and that will show you a perfectly focused focus stack image. Now, if you're shooting an insect, for example, with extreme macro lenses, I've known a person who shoots in a focus stack with 100 to 150 separate images. His name is Tom Myers. He lives here in Lexington. He's one of the world's leading bug photographers, and he does focus stacking that is in such detail, it's just a work of art, even though I find his subjects to be kind of creepy, but that happens. At any case, take a look at focus stacking as a technique when you're playing with macro, because it gives you so many more options. And again, if you want to see a quick video on it, just leave us a comment down below. We'll take a look at it. So there it is. Our friends at B&H were wonderful enough to provide this for us. I've got to send it back, unfortunately, because I really fell in love with the lens. But it's the Sigma 2.8 105mm lens. Take a look at it, give it some consideration. It's a great bang for the buck. It's right now for sale on B&H for $619, which is a great price for a really good macro lens.